Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Actually, I keep saying that, it's actually Integrative Movement Institute. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider. Hope your week has started out well. It's a nice snowy, blustery day here in the Midwest, so hopefully the weather's a little bit better where you are. In the last series of Two Anatomy Geeks, plural, geeks, because there's two of us, we discussed the head and neck, and actually we're still doing it. We have episode number 3 coming up this Saturday. So thank you if you're part of the Two Anatomy Geeks community. We love sharing this information with you. We love all the great comments and feedback, and how, more importantly, how you're able to use this information with your everyday, and especially your older clients. Because right now, your older clients need you more than ever. And we need more individuals just like you, specialists just like you, to help reach more individuals that are quarantining, stuck in their house, not getting enough physical activity. My good friend and colleague Robert Linkle has been posting about the detrimental health effects that are happening right now because people are in quarantine. They're losing muscle mass, they're losing strength, balance, coordination. They're at an increased risk of all disease, including falls. And that's where, in the home, is where most falls happen anyway. So there's so much that you and I can do as health and fitness professionals, and that's why we share so much information with you about strategies to help your older clients. And more importantly, we hope that this empowers you to empower them to create positive changes in their life, and the simple things that they can do on a regular basis to change their health and be proactive about their health and create these changes so they feel better, move better, and can get through this quarantine in a better place. Just like my client Joel, you've heard me talk about Joel. He's actually gotten stronger at 85 years of age. He's gotten stronger, his balance is better, his coordination is better. So it can happen even in quarantine, even with us doing just 100% virtual sessions. So I want to thank you for all you do for your current clients. Now let's get our message out to more individuals. Now, we're finishing up this series of head and neck in Two Anatomy Geeks. The next series, so the next 3 weekends, I should say, it starts in February, 3 weekends, consecutive weekends in February. The next series is on the rotator cuff. Now, the reason why we're just sharing this information, we started with head and neck because a lot of shoulder issues actually lead to shoulder issues. So head and neck issues lead to shoulder issues, if I said that wrong. So a lot of your rotator cuff issues in your older clients, actually, you want to look here first. So when I say here, head, neck, and rib cage, because that's ultimately the foundation for the shoulder blade and the foundation for the rotator cuff. Now, early in my career, even in my early books, when I first wrote Form and Function way back in the 1999, so the 1990s, yeah, I think it came out in 99 or 2000, I wrote about the weakness of the rotator cuff. And that's a very common thought, right? When people have shoulder problems, oh, you must have a weak rotator cuff. So then you go to PT or rehab or your specialist, and they have you do a bunch of these things like this, and a bunch of these things like this, and a bunch of these things like this to strengthen the rotator cuff. And as I look back at some of the things I wrote, I just have to like smack my head and be like, it cringes that that information is still sort of out there. And that's why we're writing the second edition of Corrective Exercise Solutions to hip and shoulder dysfunction. But more importantly, this is why we're putting this information out here, both on Facebook Live here and in our other internet and social media channels, so that you can start to use this information right away. Now, the first thing I want you to think about when we talk about rotator cuff issues, is it really weakness? And if you say, yes, my client has a weak rotator cuff or weak shoulder stabilizers, how do you know? In other words, what have you done to assess your client to determine that, yes, indeed, they have a weak rotator cuff or weak scapular stabilizers? Because just because they have this position right here of the shoulder, that forward shoulder position, just because they can't reach overhead, does not mean they have weakness. Generally, if you've been part of our community, you know we teach this all the time. And one of the biggest premises of the integrative movement system and our approach is it's rarely about weakness. Of course you can have clients that have weakness. Of course there's situations where your client has weak muscles. However, if you're not assessing your client, you don't know that to be true, and you can't assume that. Unfortunately, too many people in every day today are assuming a whole lot of things. That's a whole other conversation. So you need to assess your client to see and determine if the rotator cuff is actually weak, or is it an actual issue that their strategy for posture and movement isn't as optimal as it can be. And then hence, the muscles appear weak or functionally are weak, but it's more the strategy of what your client is doing. What I mean by that is your client set up for success, or they set up for problems. Because yes, when their client's shoulder is like this, there's some things that aren't working as well as they should to put the shoulder back into a better position to ultimately allow overhead motion. But is that a weakness situation? Is it a instability situation? Is it a tightness situation? You don't know unless you assess. And there's a whole bunch of people out there doing a whole bunch of these exercises. This is exactly what I did and was taught to do from day one when I went to rehab for my shoulder issues way back in chiropractic college. So it was going back to 95. We were teaching this stuff, and we're still teaching, not we, but those people out there are still teaching the weak rotator cuff, the weak scapulostabilizers. And will some people get better if they strengthen their scapulostabilizers and strengthen their rotator cuff? Some people will. Many people will not. So the first thing we look at when we have clients that come in with shoulder issues is we first look at their posture, and more importantly, how that postural alignment relates to their movement strategy. Meaning, does this posture alignment then also influence how your client moves their shoulder? Does it also influence how they load their shoulder? And quite frequently, it does. So we don't try to strengthen weak muscles until we change the strategy of how the client is aligning and controlling their shoulder. That's step number one. That's the most important step. Sometimes within that strategy, we need to release certain muscles. We need to help a client activate or turn on, or upregulate specific muscles. However, it's always about, the goal is creating a better strategy, which is basically just a set of habits, how your client is aligning, breathing, and controlling. The principles of the integrated movement system: alignment, breathing, control. Because we believe when somebody aligns, breathes, and controls, they have better strategy, or I should say, they can develop better habits and then develop that overall better strategy. So, I'm going to show you some in the next couple videos, next series here. I will share with you some of the exercises we do specifically for the rotator cuff. But again, it's not specifically for the rotator cuff. It's actually to help change the strategy. How do we help our older clients change their shoulder strategy so that they develop a better overall ability to use the muscles when they need to use the muscles and not overuse other muscles? One last thing I'll leave you with, because one of the things we are sharing in our Two Anatomy Geeks series, as well as our integrated movement specialist certification, is the first step to helping your clients with a lot of their chronic issues. So it could be shoulder or rotator cuff issues, could be head and neck issues, could be low back issues, doesn't matter. Is really to stop them from doing what they're doing that is actually contributing to their issues. So what are some of your clients doing that's directly contributing to their issues? The rotator cuff issues is the one strategy you've heard me talk about over and over and over again that's being taught, was taught to me way back then, still being taught today, is that strategy to chest up, squeeze down and back of the shoulders. Now do this with me. My cat is like, yeah, that's right. That's feeding. She's become very popular on our social media posts because she just seems to show up when I'm going live and shooting videos. So chest up, shoulders down and back. Now raise your arm overhead. Now try to rotate your arm in and out. It doesn't work very well because you are stopping the optimal mechanics. You're inhibiting the optimal mechanics. So the first strategy when you're working with clients with rotator cuff issues, when you're working with clients with chronic head and neck issues, when you're working with clients that have chronic low back issues, is you need to stop them from using the strategy that they're already using that's actually contributing to their issue. Because your client that comes in like this, you can't tell them to bring your chest up and hope that they're going to do this. I mean, you can hope for it. The likelihood, I've been doing this for 23 years now, never happens. I should say, rarely happens. You can never say never or always. Rarely happens. Because if your client's kyphotic like this, they're in a spinal stenotic posture, When you say lift your chest up, all they do is this. So you're like, oh, that looks better. Now let's do a rotator cuff exercise. It's not better, it's just different. They just move their position from here to here, so it looks better. It's no different. So we need a strategy to help our clients. The first thing to do is stop doing the things that are directly contributing to your client's issue. And one of them is drawing the shoulder blades down and back. So hope that helped you. Hope that served you. Next time, because I know many of you are like, tell us what to do. I'm like, I already told you a big step of what to do. Stop doing the things that are jacking your clients up. Second thing, in the next video, I'll share with you some of the strategies we use to help put our clients into a better position so they can actually use their rotator cuff in a more effective manner. And again, it's not about strengthening the rotator cuff. We'll talk more about that next time. Thank you again for all you do for your clients, for your community. Thanks for being that leader that they need, especially bringing people together. So that's why it's so important that you and I, as health and fitness professionals, put aside our beliefs, our opinions, our ideas. I see many of my colleagues out there shooting off some not great stuff. Our job, our role, our responsibility is to bring people together, to serve people. So I want you to think about what you're posting, what you're reading, what you're doing on a regular basis, and ask yourself, is it serving my community? Is it helping to enroll my community? Is it helping this world, this place, our country, our clients, our communities be better? Am I coming from a place of love, peace, and of making a positive change? If you can answer yes, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for all you do. If there's anything we can do, if you have any questions, put them next to this video. Mary will put the link to the next tag series, the Two Anatomy Geeks series, where we'll cover the ABCs, the anatomy, biomechanics, and motor control of the shoulder, and how the rotator cuff functions within the control of the shoulder. We'll talk about the assessments. We always share, because the important thing about this series is we really want you to understand how this information, this anatomy information, applies to your client. Because it's great to know, oh yeah, the rotator cuff does this, and the rotator cuff does this, but how does it help you? So we want to share with you how you use this information, anatomy, biomechanics, and motor control, to assess your client, and then from there, choose the A+, the most appropriate corrective exercises and functional exercises programs, or progressions, I should say, for your clients. So she'll put the link next to it if you're looking for more information, read more about it, and we'd love to see you as part of our community. We have a great time every Saturday morning, and we'd love to have you. It's better than Saturday morning cartoons. Maybe not better. It's cool, just like Saturday morning cartoons used to be when we were kids. We have a lot of fun. Jill makes this learning anatomy super fun, super exciting. You know, we just goof off, but we also get a lot of great information done. So we'd love to see you as part of our community. Mary will put the link there. We'll see you soon. And next time, we'll talk about the rotator cuff and how to train it more specifically. Thanks so much. This is Dr. Osar with the Integrative Movement Institute. Make it a great day.